It was close to midnight when the headlights of my car finally caught the crooked glow of a faded neon sign in the distance. I had been driving for hours across the endless stretch of desert highway, nothing but sand and silence in every direction. My eyes were heavy from staring at the road, my hands stiff from gripping the wheel too long, and I knew if I didn't stop soon, I'd risk falling asleep behind the wheel. The sign flickered weakly against the dark sky, buzzing with an electrical hum that seemed louder than the crickets in the night. It read, "Vacancy Desert View Motel." The parking lot was almost completely empty, save for one dusty old pickup truck parked crooked near the lobby. The building itself looked forgotten, its paint chipped and walls cracked, as if the desert had been trying to reclaim it for years. I remember hesitating for a moment, sitting in the driver's seat, staring at the building and telling myself I should keep going, but exhaustion won and I killed the engine. The air was strangely heavy when I stepped outside, dry but suffocating, as if the desert itself was holding its breath. Inside, the motel lobby smelled of mildew and something else, something sour and metallic. Behind the counter sat a man whose skin was pale and sagging, his eyes cloudy like frosted glass. He didn't greet me nung kakukundi di seke for my name kakung or ID. He simply slid a brass key across the counter and muttered, "Room 9." The hallway to room 9 was dim, the carpet stained with decades of dirt and the wallpaper curling at the edges. I unlocked the door, pushed it open, and was greeted with stale air, colder than the desert night outside. The room looked like it hadn't been touched since the 1970s, faded floral wallpaper, a bedspread worn thin, and a single dusty mirror bolted to the wall directly across from the bed. But what unsettled me most wasn't the decor, it was the door on the far side of the room. It looked like a closet, but the handle was rusted shut, as if it hadn't been opened in years. I tossed my bag on the bed and tried to ignore it. Sleep was all I wanted, and for a while, I managed to close my eyes. But then came the sound. At first it was faint, so faint I thought I might have been imagining it. A soft, deliberate tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It came from the closet door. My eyes flew open, my heart hammering in my chest. I told myself it was the pipes, maybe a branch scraping against the wall outside. I tried to believe that. But then I heard the whisper. It was a woman's voice, low and broken, leaking from behind that rusted door. "Don't stay," it whispered. My entire body froze. The voice came again, trembling, desperate. "Leave, before he comes." I sat up, breath shallow, staring at the closet. My hand shook as I reached for my bag, intending to leave right then, but the door handle to the room itself refused to turn. It was as if it had locked itself. The whisper grew louder, panic, the words tumbling out, fast and frightened. "He's here." The lights flickered overhead, buzzing violently, and that's when I saw it. Not directly in the room, but in the mirror. The reflection no longer showed me sitting on the bed. It showed a figure standing behind me, tall, motionless, hollow black eyes that seemed to swallow the light, and a grin stretched too wide across its face, sharp and unnatural. I spun around, but the room was empty. The figure wasn't there, only in the mirror. My body moved before my mind could catch up. I lunged for the door, rattling the knob with all my strength, and suddenly it gave way. I bolted into the hallway, my footsteps pounding against the stained carpet as I ran past peeling wallpaper and flickering lights. The lobby was empty. The pale clerk was gone. The desk abandoned. I rushed outside, desperate for air, and the parking lot hit me like a nightmare. That old pickup truck I'd seen earlier was still there, but rusted through, the tires shredded, the glass long gone. It looked like it hadn't moved in decades. I didn't stop running until I was back in my car, slamming the keys into the ignition, praying it would start. When the engine roared to life, I peeled out of that lot and back onto Route 66, not daring to look in the rearview mirror until the motel was swallowed by darkness behind me. I drove until morning, until sunlight finally cut across the desert horizon. I pulled into a gas station, hands still trembling, and asked the attendant about the Desert View Motel. He looked at me strangely, like I had said something impossible. Then he shook his head and said, "That place? It burned down back in the 80s. No one stayed there since." I wanted to argue, wanted to insist that I had been there just hours before, that I had seen the clerk, heard the whispers, felt the cold in that room. But the words never came, because deep down, I realized something. Maybe the motel never really went away. Maybe on certain nights, for certain unlucky travelers, it still opens its doors. And if you ever find yourself on Route 66, tired and searching for a place to sleep, and you see a flickering neon sign that says vacancy, Desert View Motel, don't stop. Don't even slow down, because once you walk through that door, you might never leave.